Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our annual information session for Historic Places Days 2024 with the National Trust for Canada. My name is Kirsten Evenden. I'm the Head of Business Development and Partnerships at the Trust, and I'm coming to you today from Calgary, otherwise known as Mohintus. Are people coming in, popping in? I see we've got 44 participants. We're getting going, but please do feel free to let us know where you're coming in from today. We'd love to hear the reach of all of these wonderful historic places that are hoping to participate in Historic Places Days. The webinar will last approximately, I think, all in 45 minutes. We've got our Historic Places Days team with you, along with our colleagues from Parks Canada, to speak a bit further to Historic Places Days and work with you to figure out how you can be more involved. So as people come in from across the country, we'll get going. This year, Historic Places Days takes place in July the 10th to the 17th. So within that series of days, we've got a full weekend, often where a lot of events will happen on the ground and otherwise, and then a whole bunch of days of the week. So you'll see the hashtags for Historic Places Days. It is often an online engagement with a lot of on-ground engagement with your visitors and a way to grow awareness for your site with visitors. So we'll go to the next slide. So I mentioned it starts on July 10th, and we're working with a number of different partners this year. And I do want to do a shout out to our colleagues at Parks Canada who do provide the funding for a portion of this program. We are very grateful to them for their support of sites across the country and the sharing of expertise that they offer. Great to be working with you again. We will also go into some detail about our photo contest and some of the prizes that are going to be offered by some of our gift in kind partners. So some fun things to win in for visitors and online engagement this year. So we'll go to the next slide. Just a bit about last year and how we continue to build. As you can imagine, during the pandemic, things kind of there was still a lot of engagement. A lot of it was online, but we've seen some wonderful growth coming out of the pandemic in 22 and then again last year. We had our most ever historic places registered, 44% growth year on year. So we had 838 wonderful places participating. We had some great engagement online with 1,250 contest entries, and then also some virtual and in-person events happening across the country. And we saw a huge growth in that. Some 352 events were offered in one way or the other across the country for the purposes of community engagement. So I'll leave it here. I'm going to hand it over to Sonia Krupvagen, who is our wonderful project manager for the project. And take it away, Sonia.
Thank you, Kirsten, and welcome everybody. I have seen a whole bunch of people saying in the chat where they're from. Please keep going. We love to know who's here and what place you're representing. It's lovely to know this program runs from coast to coast to coast, and it's fantastic the energy of seeing everybody joining in. If you're new to Historic Places Days, I want to do a general introduction. So it runs around the weekend after the Canada Day weekend, and it's designed to shine a spotlight on historic places from coast to coast to coast. The tagline for the event is "Every Place a Story," because that's how these places become alive for Canadians. The program is actually really a platform. It's an opportunity to gain profile for visitors, and it exists as much online as it does in person and in social media. And it's really relevant to you whether you operate a single site or a suite of sites, whether you own, you're a small nonprofit or a government agency, or just someone who wants to raise the profile of historic sites in Canada. It's really an opportunity for many different kinds of people to support historic places in Canada. A small word about the Trust. The The Trust is happy to be the lead partner for Historic Places Days, and to make it happen, we appreciate greatly the participation and the support of Parks Canada. And it's really the perfect partnership between the National Trust and Parks Canada, because both of our organizations are dedicated to safeguarding and celebrating heritage places, and importantly, connecting people to these places. It's a real pleasure to be part of this program. And for the Trust, Historic Places Days has become a bigger part of the suite of programs that we offer, such as the Next Great Save competition, Launchpad coaching grants, and our annual conference, which is designed to strengthen the efforts of community groups to increase the vitality of heritage places in their care. Next slide. So I wanted to share a little bit of past participants in Historic Places Days. Here's a quote from Duncan Train Station in Duncan, BC, about people coming and increasing admission at their historic site. And the next slide is an example of an Instagram takeover by Lang Pioneer Village. So we're doing that again this year. They were able to do a series of shares of the various buildings on their site, and different activities available, and some interactive posts. So I would like to now pass the presentation over to France Fauché. She's the Manager of Commemorations and Engagement for Parks Canada, who's here to speak on behalf of Parks Canada.
Hello, bonjour. Thanks, Sonia. Thanks for this opportunity. Yeah, like as Sonia said, I'm the Manager of Commemoration and Engagement in the Partnering and Outreach Directorate in Parks Canada. So we are really proud to join again this year the Historic Places Days and participate. This is a great event. On est très fiers de se joindre encore cette année à la Fiducie pour célébrer et promouvoir les journées des lieux patrimoniaux. Historic Places Day is a perfect opportunity to celebrate cultural heritage, promote many and diverse historic destinations Canada has to offer, and then also bring people and get their attention to visit historic places. So not just Parks Canada one, but administrated by Parks Canada, but all the other one, like that is, I think it's important 7 days. So that bring, the celebration builds awareness, attendance, and also like it's help for other generation to learn more about their history. So I think it's an ideal opportunity. Parks Canada manages 171 national historic sites across the country, different stories. Some they have like related, but every year like there's increased participation during that week, so which we are really grateful. Last year we had success with the campaign. I think we can switch slide. The campaign that feature a series of social media posts regarding lighthouses in Canada. This year, we will be showcasing unique culinary experiences administrated at Parks Canada administrated places, and as well as the most beautiful garden in the country. So you can find on our websites different locations across the country, and our National Historic Site will be showcasing them during that week. And alors, il y a plusieurs beaux jardins à visiter. On a plusieurs expériences sur notre site web, et aussi des expériences culinaires à différents lieux historiques. Donc, c'est sur la campagne va porter, dans les médias sociaux, va porter sur ces sujets-là cette année. You can switch. So for this year, like to help our different sites, we have created like a toolbox. In the toolbox, people like our site, they can find key messages, Q&As, social media plan, because as you know, we do have a national social media accounts, but we also have like different sites, they have their own. So we have created template for them to help them to promote that week. We also created a promotional video that everybody can use, everybody on the call. We have a version without Parks Canada logo and Canada logo on it. So that will be available. And we will also, as mentioned, the national campaign on social media talking about culinary and garden this year. So once again, like we are really pleased to be part of this week. That is really important for parks, and that's really happy to participate again.
Thank
That
you.
was fast.
Yeah, thank you, France.
And any question, I'm happy to answer.
We'll see if there's any questions now, and there's also a question period at the end of the presentation, and we can all answer. I would like to invite Emma Lang, Executive Director of the National Trust for Nova Scotia, to present about being part of Historic Places Days program by doing outreach and creating engagement in the Atlantic provinces.
Hi, so as Sonia said, I'm the Executive Director of the province-wide organization that works on built heritage in Nova Scotia. But in this capacity, I reach a bit broader across our whole region. And the main part of what I do is that I'm a local, more or less in the same time zone, my apologies to Newfoundland, person who you can reach out to if you have questions or need support, or are trying to figure out how to make Historic Places Days work for you. I've lived in Newfoundland and I've lived in Nova Scotia, so I have a pretty good sense of those provinces in particular, but also have strong contacts in New Brunswick and PEI. And I know that every region operates a little differently, and we all have our quirks. And so hopefully by having someone local, it's someone who can maybe help you negotiate some of the challenges, but also think about the best way to take advantage of things like cruise ship visitation, and using Historic Places Days to work with you. The other thing I do is we have Historic Places Days has visit lists. And one thing I'm really interested in is helping promote across the region. So if people are interested in a particular topic, they can find sites that are similar, because we know that a lot of our visitors will drive, say, from Ontario through New Brunswick, stop in PEI, into Nova Scotia, and maybe go up to Newfoundland. So this helps them sort of find those ways to create a theme for their vacation or things that are of interest to them. So I put every site that registers each year into a theme. These, you can see some of the ones from last year. I'll see whether they need to be a little bit tweaked this year. But that's who I am. And it would also be great if we had regional coordinators across the country. This is my favorite. I tell my board president, I'm our only staffer, but I tell my board president, this is my candy for the year, is getting to connect with sites nationally, and connect with sites across our region and think about ways that we can support each other. So I know that if anyone is interested in serving as a Western or Central or Prairies regional coordinator, Sonia would be utterly delighted. And if before you email Sonia, you want to touch base with some of what I do and how much time it takes, I'm more than happy for you to shoot me an email or give me a call. I think that's all you wanted me to say. I'm really excited about Historic Places Days. We've seen it really benefit our region, and it fits in really well with the timeline for how our regional sort of summers go in terms of increasing visitation and getting folks maybe a little bit off the beaten track.
Thanks, Emma. That was fantastic. I really appreciate that. It really has grown the engagement in Historic Places Days in the Atlantic province region, sorry. And so fantastic to have someone who really understands the historic sites in the region. So if anybody else would like to increase engagement in their area, yes, please reach out either to me personally or Historic Places Day email that we'll share at the end. And we can have a further chat about how that can help you. Audrey is next, presenting about how to register.
Thanks, Sonia. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Audrey Gray, and I'm a project officer for Historic Places Days. So right now, we're just going to go over some of the first steps of setting up for Historic Places Days. And I just want to remind everyone that this information is available in our toolkit available on the Historic Places Days website, as well as this will be recorded. So if you have any questions, this won't be the only time we'll present this information. So the first step is to joining Historic Places Days would be to register your historic place. If you haven't already done so, you need to create an account through our website. All you need to do to sign up is an email address and a password, and then you're able to register your place. So some of the required information you'll need will be the name of your site, the location, an image of your place, a short description, and then you also have the option to add in other things like amenities, opening hours, multiple photos besides the main one, and you can kind of create it as you want. There's also a fun facts section, which is fun. Also a reminder that if you haven't already done so, and you have registered in the past, to opt in for 2024, this will be available through your account. There's going to be like a little pink button, and you just have to click opt in to 2024, and then you'll be ready for this year. So once you've registered your site, you can then go on to register events that are taking place at your site. And we encourage you to register any events specifically happening between July 10th and 17th, which is our Historic Places Days event. That will get extra reach. But we also encourage you to register any sites or any events that are ongoing throughout the year, as another way to kind of platform your organization and everything that's going on. The third thing you can do with Historic Places Days is you can create a visit list. Emma touched on this a bit, but this is a really great way to kind of tell place-based stories using more than just one site. Maybe if you're an organization, it could be a great way to kind of cohesively put all of these sites together. But you can also connect, sites that fall under a certain theme, maybe gardens and historic parks found in Montreal and Quebec, or, favorite historic restaurants around. Doesn't have to be those two themes, but just some ideas. But really you can choose any site that's been registered through Historic Places Days to help tell kind of a place-based story. I think I'm going to be handing it over now to Chanel, who's going to be talking about the photo contest and some of the themes for this year.
Thanks, Audrey. So, hi, my name is Chanel. It's nice to see everyone here today. So, I'm going to be talking about the photo contest. So, the photo contest is back for this year, and we're encouraging participants to share the story of their visit on social media, whether that's posting a selfie or a photo of the place. We have excellent prizes this year, including 7 Parks Canada passes, some Canadian history subscriptions, Canadian Geographic magazine subscriptions, some National Trust memberships, and 3 grand prizes of $500. Yeah. I'm also going to be sharing some ideas for relating to our themes for this year. So our theme is food and garden. So some food ideas. These are kind of like events that you could potentially run. You could share historic recipes, food tasting events, culinary workshops, and historic kitchens. So maybe if you have any unique architectural features such as historic bakeries, maybe an old-fashioned ice cream shop, or maybe like a wood oven, something cool that could be in your historic site, that could be really interesting to share. And interact with the public through food tasting events, showing off different historic foods and beverages, historic recipes. These are really interesting ways to interact with the public and incorporate your historic site with our theme of food. And our next theme is garden. So if you have a historic garden on your site, maybe that includes having botanical tours or garden workshops showing traditional gardening techniques. Potentially you have unique plant species, and that could be really cool to have like plant exhibition showing different historical species and showcasing them in your garden. You may have had events in the past kind of relating to these themes and ideas, and this would be a really cool way to incorporate with our theme for Historic Places Day 2024. Yeah, I think that's everything for different ideas.
I'm going to be going over some of the initiatives that are ongoing with Historic Places Days. So this is now our second year that we've incorporated an all places map. Usually there's two map views. So one will show the places directly around you. And then this one will show kind of a more comprehensive view of all historic places that have signed up. Again, this is a reminder to opt into the 2024 Historic Places Days, because as we approach the deadline, that those will be the sites that will be shown. Another initiative that is ongoing is our Incorporating Queer Histories. Last year, we kicked off our new initiative to queer the Historic Places Days, which means that we were seeking out collaborations with queer organizations, historians, and historic places in an effort to highlight historic places that showcased histories of queer resistance, celebration, and community. Last year, it resulted in registering 30 historic places, 2 visit lists, and the collaboration of 8 different partners from Edmonton to Halifax. And this year, we're looking to build upon last year's efforts, and we encourage historic places to platform these kinds of histories when registering their historic places. Another initiative that's ongoing now in its 3rd year is using geocaches as a way to register invisible histories. Diversifying our stories requires rethinking historic places, and geocaching has been a strategy to approach this, which allows us to register sites that either may no longer be standing, no longer open to the public, or otherwise challenging to present. A couple caveats when using the geocache feature. We ask that you don't put a geocache on private property. And secondly, if your listing requires precise coordinates, that you emailed them to us at historicplacesdays@nationaltrustcanada.ca so we can manually enter them ourselves. It's just something we have to do manually. So if that is a requirement, we just ask that you reach out to us first. Thank you. I'm going to be passing it over now to Gabrielle, who's going to be speaking to resources and our communications.
Hi everyone, bonjour à tous. Bienvenue, nous sommes très heureux et heureuses de vous accueillir ici aujourd'hui. We're really pleased to receive you here today. So my name is Gabrielle. I'm the Communication and Public Affairs Manager at the Trust at the moment. I'm working very closely with the beautiful communication team here and also with Parks Canada. So today we'll be talking about a bit of resources. So again, as my colleagues mentioned before, you have access to the toolkit online on our website. Everything is on there. You're going to have access to the Canva template for your social media posting. If you're tech savvy with design a little bit, Canva is a very actually very useful tool if you want to create designs for your social media tools. You're going to have full access also to a Google Drive folder for you to be able to pick anything you need, again, for any communication pieces going out for your site and social media posting. So we're going to go to the next slide for you to see actually a bit about the social media team. This year, actually, social media team is more, the team is more one team, which is food and gardening experiences. You can separate it too. For instance, if your site have more like foods to offer or gardens to offer, this is just example for you to be able to use. We are highly encouraging you here to probably start posting a video, a 1-minute video, not more than 1 minute, because on social media, like we know that people have a very short attention span and you want to really go address a very precise communication message directly to your audience. So that's why we suggest a 1-minute video for you to be able to share your site and how people can visit it. If you have any food on the premises, or if you have, for instance, a garden, you can use all these prompts So for instance, you can take a video of you or your team walking on your audience through a recipe tied to the history of your site. You can post a picture of your site's historic cooking equipment, post a video of sharing historic site gardening or cooking hack. All these ideas are very useful for you, but they're also there as an example. So you don't have to use it. It's just like it could be just a fun idea for you to use when you're going to do the tour of your site. And this is a reminder also to tag us, so tag National Trust and as well as Parks Canada. Use our handle that you've seen throughout the other slides before, and as well as the official hashtag of the campaign, which is Historic Places Day. Also, every place story, you can also hashtag Parks Canada. So this is always important because as soon as you actually share with the handle and the hashtags, we're able to reshare it for you through our own social media platform. So this way you have a bit more movement as well when you share your site and your story. For the next slide, you can also actually create a special event that you can share with the public. And this special event, we're going to share it on our website. So as well, you're going to have a bit more visibility if you start a specific event. It could be anything like, you know, it could be like a homemade cooking show. It could be like a walk through a garden. It could be like a webinar that you're going to host like at the place and share it again after on the internet. You can use all social media platforms. Just notice that at the Trust, for instance, we don't have TikTok, so we won't be able to reshare the TikTok account if you have one, but we do use Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, so feel free to tag us on all these platforms. Increasing also more Instagram and Facebook, which are the ones that have the most reach when you create videos as well. So this is what you can do to promote your event as well through a special event that will be led on our website and all social media platform. So I'll be giving back the presentation to Sonia.
Thanks, Gabrielle. I hope everybody's pretty excited about our food and garden theme this year. We're pretty excited about it. But please feel free to share anything that works for you during the time period of Historic Places Days. And as Gabrielle said, we're happy to echo it. I wanted to conclude our presentation today by revisiting some of the reasons why you may want to be involved in Historic Places Days. So Historic Places Days, we get national and international attention, as well as we've heard from participants that it helps local people find you with our Find Historic Places Near You tool. Since its introduction, the All Places map that Audrey was talking about has turned into quite the tool for people to use for tourism, as well as just heritage enthusiasts to find historic sites of different topics that they're interested in. As we mentioned, we will be announcing the events that are happening during Historic Places Days on our website and through our email. We have contests that increase engagement on social media. You have a chance to win 3 times this year a pot of $500. That's our grand prize. Feel free to use the tools that we have. We have a toolkit so that help you create content for Historic Places Days. There are over 800 places that have been participating in Historic Places Days. The website now reaches 56,000 people during a year. So it's gaining in traffic and it's free to participate, and we're here to help you. So I would like to thank everybody who was part of the presentation today. I would like to open the floor up for questions. And you can either type your questions in the question and answer box, or you can also raise your hand and we'll give you the microphone. If you could, while everybody's preparing their questions, I'm just going to speak a little bit to the Trust If we could forward the slides. So I wanted to mention that we are a member-based organization, and here are some of the benefits of joining the trust. That we have a magazine, you get discounts on our yearly national conference. We have a library of on-demand webinars specifically about lots of different heritage topics. And with our membership, you get free access to 100 places in Canada, historic sites, as well as over 1,000 places around the world, as we are part of a network of national trusts around the world. And for everybody, there's a coupon code there to get a 30% discount, and it's new member when you join, and student membership is only $10. So let's start the question period. We're happy to have a conversation about it if you have any questions right now. So I see a question about the all places map, whether it's year round. Yes, it is there year round. And you can add in places that you're hoping people will find around the year. And it's not only for places that are participating with events, it's also for people all year round to be able to find historic places and the information about them. Does somebody want to try and answer the question about editing content, or we can answer it offline? Jenna, I think maybe we can talk to you individually to figure out how that's not working for you right now. We're happy to help. There's a question about the purpose of visit lists. So I think I understand the question that it's a way of doing geo-based storytelling. So there's many different ways you can use it. You can use it to do a walking tour in your area to connect several different places. Or it could be connecting places of a certain theme, like train stations across the country. There's a very popular visit list that says great places to visit in Ontario. It's a great way to feature various places with themes or geographical themes or story content. I hope that answers it. Oh, the code for the new member is new member. Audrey, did you want to answer a question?
Sorry, I know I was just taking a look at the questions.
Okay. So the deadline, sorry, what date are we using for there is no deadline to enter because you can use the website year round, but there is a deadline to be able to be included, saying that you're opting in for this year. I'm trying to think what the deadline is. I think it's 4 days before the start of the program in July. So what would that be? July 6th.
And Sonia, we also have a question regarding the theme for this year from Jason. So I can actually jump in very quickly and answer that question. So the theme for this year is not an obligation. This is really just like more for your social media campaign, for instance, and how, you know, people can reach you and see your site in a more fun way. So that's why we have this theme this year, also linked with the Parks Canada theme. So this is really more for you than something that you have to do. So if you, like I said before, if you don't have food on your visit site, or if you don't have a garden, for instance, it's okay. You can choose something else to reach out to the community through social media, no problem. I hope this answered your question clearly, Jason.
Are there any more questions?
It looks like Emma Lang has noted in the chat a further explanation about the visit lists and how they can draw attention to a whole bunch of sites at once, sort of in a cluster. So it might be worth going on the website and seeing what kinds of visit lists, what kinds of themes are in past visit lists. And you can get as sort of in detail around how you want to pull together a visit list or not. Maybe one of your sites is already on a visit list, but there's lots of options for you to use that if you like as a function.
We're happy to do any other questions now, or there's also a Historic Places Days at nationaltrustcanada.ca. We're happy to answer questions you think of later by email. We are going to have a follow-up email from this presentation with the recording, and that will also include the email if you have any follow-up questions. I'm just going to give it a few more minutes here in case there are questions.
There is a question in the question chat about the a transcript for the webinar. I think we're sending out the PowerPoint slides for everyone, but this is regarding a transcript.
Yeah, so we'll be sending out the PowerPoint slides and the recording itself. I think there should be a way of extracting a transcript from the recording if that is more helpful.
Oh, it's a good question. So I like the question about whether places need to be nonprofits, and we are encouraging businesses to also, if you are in a heritage site and can tell the history of your site, we would love you to be part of the program. Yes, definitely a historic restaurant would be fantastic.
Yeah. And to the point of geocaching as well, you don't necessarily have to own or operate the site. We just ask that you identify that you don't, if you want to register a site that isn't in your wheelhouse.
Sorry, I was laughing at Emma was also talking about a restaurant. So thank you so much. Historic Places Days is a wonderful opportunity. We look forward to engaging with all of you online and through questions. Please feel free to reach out if you have anything. Also suggestions. We're very open. And thank you so much for participating today.